Salvete! In hoc episodio colloquor cum Renda. Renda est mater trium liberorum, tres liberos habet, quos instituit Latinae. Renda docet liberos suos linguam Latinam, immo discit linguam Latinam cum liberis suis. Cur id facit? Varis de causis. Renda est catholica et vult cum liberis suis legere Bibliam vulgatam et audire atque intellegere sacra Christianorum. Deinde Renda putat linguam Latinam fore utile liberis suis. Ergo audietis colloquium nostrum, quod coipit Latine, sed perrexit Anglice, nam Rendae fuit facilius Anglice loqui quam Latine. Sed si ipsa es parens liberorum et vis eos instituere Latine, vel si es magistra, vel si ipse vis discere linguam Latinam, tibi vehementer commendo hoc breve colloquium, nam Renda dicet multas res utile de liberis Latine instituendis et etiam ope cursus mei. Bene audi colloquium nostrum Anglice habitum. Salvete auditores et auditrices, hodie colloquium caedo cum Renda, quae non modo discit linguam Latinam, sed docet linguam Latinam liberos suos. Et scio multos inter vos esse qui velint liberos suos, vel pueros puellasque docere Latine. Salve Renda, bene venisti. Visne aliquid dicere de te, quae sis, et cur didiceris linguam Latinam?
I'm sorry, are you asking me why we're studying it?
Ita.
Okay. And is this for your own personal like teaching and understanding, or for like to help maybe other students?
Everything. What you want to tell us.
Okay. Well, we are Catholic and we are doing classical education, homeschooling in America. And so it's difficult to get good at Latin though. There's some programs that just emphasize the grammar and no one can ever make a sentence. And then it's just others that are like try to be immersive, but the kids can't follow it.
Mm-hmm.
They just get lost. So especially, I didn't really see any programs that were taking advantage of a child's natural ability to learn language quickly, more quickly than adults. So I was really happy to find your program because it's verbal, and that's, the kids are going to learn a lot more if they hear it being read to them. And then the story, of course, really grips them. And I've been really pleased to see your lessons because you have puppets and you have like funny things and you act out the story, and it's actually they're so engaged with it, so it's really good. I think I'm going through it with them, but they're definitely, I think, picking it up faster than me, just with especially the sounds and the words.
Hoc gaudio. Et quot annos habent liberi tui?
Say that again.
What's their age?
Oh,
the
okay.
age of your kids?
They are 10, 12, and 14.
Mm-hmm. When did they start to learn Latin? Is this their first time or?
No, and I think it would have been very difficult if it was, because most kids don't know, even most Americans don't even know those grammar terms for the different cases and so on. But they have done about 2 years before, but it kind of may be an easy 2 years. Memoria Press has a couple of programs that they went through, and it was very grammar focused. So it's helped a lot. They knew a lot of, a couple hundred words maybe coming in, which are often used. And so that has really helped them not be totally lost. They knew all the cases, and they've known the first three declensions and the first conjugation. That's been really good. But things like pronouns are completely new, and a lot just being able to actually make sentences is new to them. And that's actually fun. I think they feel like they get to speak it.
And because I know there are other homeschooling parents who are using my course or are wanting to use it, can you just tell us what's your routine with your kids and Latin? How are you using my course if you are complementing it in some way?
Yes, actually. So one thing that's a little different about us is that I was looking for ecclesiastical pronunciation because that's what we might hear in church. And I really couldn't find anything. And to be honest, I thought that you were using it because I don't know Latin well. And I heard your first video. I was like, oh, she said salve. That she used the V. She's using ecclesiastical. And then it turned out you were using classical pronunciation. But that's okay because I think it still works out. This is the best option. So out by playing like a video about the differences, and we still try to use it in ecclesiastical, but we understand you. I also, for that same reason, I use another video someone put on YouTube, and I forget his channel, might be Via Latina, but he's reading Hans Orberg in ecclesiastical pronunciation.
Okay.
So we do that first. But our usual routine is we spend probably 35 or 40 minutes a day on it, and we do it 4 days a week, and then we start, if we're just starting with the next chapter, we go through your lesson, the pre-lectio, and then we listen to the YouTube online pronunciation of just reading it, the whole thing through. And I have the kid, after I read a paragraph, I pause it, and then they read it out. They take turns reading it out loud, or maybe we act it out if it's like a dialogue. And then when we're done with that, we go back to GLL. And we go on with your reading and your explanation of the whole chapter. And that's actually been we definitely need to hear it twice. We definitely need to do your explanation. You point out a lot of things we hadn't really thought about. And then we just go through all the rest of your videos. That when we get to grammatica, they take notes. And then modest, usually I have them take notes and write down what you put on the board. And then we do the pensa. We do the A and B out loud together, and then C, I have them write. And that's just because my 10-year-old isn't as good a writer as his sisters, but he can do it out loud. And we take as many days as it needs. So it might be more than a week, but up to 2 weeks. And then when we're done with the chapter. Yeah.
Okay. That's rather quickly because chapters are long, and I also add other videos, so this is a good pace. And are you also doing my own exercises with your kids, or
is that at the end of the
is like the pre-capitulum, post-capitulum, pre-lectio?
Done the pensa that are in the Hans Orberg's book. Yeah.
Okay, that's already more than enough. And
but I don't think I could do more, but yeah, maybe for my 14-year-old I would do more, but my 10-year-old I wouldn't.
Yeah, I understand. It's already a lot. And what's the part you think your kids like the most in my course, or in Familia Romana, whatever, or in Latin in general?
I think it's been your own pre-chapter videos. I mean, it was so great, like, in the puppets and then we're trying to figure it out, and then in the end we figure it out, and then we replay it, and then we like understand the whole thing. And it's just very it just is the kind of thing that is exactly what helps them understand the words. I also like visually seeing you as a teacher next to the text. You'll explain the opposites and you'll show it like this, and then they get it. It's otherwise, sometimes we're just lost if we don't have those kinds of, a real teacher explaining it.
Yeah, and honestly, I created my course for adults, but I see that the puppets are also alluring for kids. And last question, because I know you have to go. What are your ambitions or your desires about your kids and Latin, your goals? Because you perhaps already being able to understand the mass in Latin is enough. What do you think about their future in Latin?
Yeah, well, there's prayers that, I would like them to be able to know, and then just kind of have it be part of them too. If they hear the Psalms, or I'd like them to be able to read the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate. It may be that one of them will go into religious life, and then knowing Latin would just be great. And then as far as just being able to think well and read well. Like we're doing a full classical education, they're studying Aristotle and those are, if they were good at Latin, we could look at the Latin translations of Aristotle, and I think it would help them more than so it just like, I think it's a great component of the full classical education.
Yeah, I agree, of course. Bene, so thank you, and I'm waiting for your updates about how your children.
There is one thing that my kids have struggled with. So I don't know if this is important. In their previous Memoria Press lessons, they were chanting the cases. They learned the declensions, but it was a different order than what we're seeing in Oiberg.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't sure when we first got the grammatical lessons. Should you write it down in the order she's giving it? Should you reverse it to what you're used to? And
yeah, I know that in many parts of the world they use another order. I learned with Orberg's order, but I'd say that you can do whatever suits your children best. It's not that important, but if they are used with another order, it can be easier for them to stick to that order, I think, so to reorder the cases, or if they want to switch. And in fact, it's already a good exercise being able to use both orders, because you are forced to memorize in two different ways. So even if you think that doing both is doable, then it's a good way to. But that's not important. The important thing is to be able to recognize and use the cases, of course. But it's true that we need some order to go through them.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate the course, and it's been really good for them. So
thank you. I'm really happy to know that there are children using my course.
Yeah.
As I said, it's not the first goal I had while creating it, but I see that there are many parents who buy my course to homeschool their children. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you are able to advertise it more, I think it's helpful to see like screenshots and stuff. I kind of had to jump in not really knowing what it would end up looking like. And
yeah, that's good advice. I'm trying to do that. I'm not so good at advertising and showing what's inside, but I will try to get better at it.
All right. Oh, the other reason that I was really happy to choose you is because you have such a good accent, and a lot of Americans don't try to have a Latin accent. They just have an American. They don't have an Italian accent. They don't have a Spanish accent. They have an American accent, and I don't think it sounds right. So I was wanting someone who would do it right.
Yeah, that's my unfair advantage because I'm Italian. But
I know.
Yes, it's true, because I really strive to have a clear pronunciation, because I know that can be an obstacle to many Americans, because your pronunciation, of course, is so different, but being able to pronounce like an Italian, I would say, makes it easier to recall how a word is written, so it helps.
Yeah. So when you hear stuff that comes out from the Vatican in Latin, you can just like read it and hear it, and it just it's easy to understand, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. That's so fun.
That can be done. Yeah.
Can do that. Okay. Thank you so much.
Gratias plurimas. Thank you for your time. Bene, cum renda collocutae sumus de cursu meo, cuius titulus est GLL, Gustatio linguae Latinae, cursus non modo pueris puellisque, sed maxime adultis hominibus est aptus, ergo si discis linguam Latinam, si doces linguam Latinam, si vis loqui Latine, si non vis loqui Latine, sed si vis facile legere atque intellegere linguam Latinam, poteris nomen dare ad cursum meum, et hoc facere poteris exeunte mense maio, infine mensis mai. Sed antea tibi proponam cursum gratuitum omnino, in quo poteris videre qualis sit cursus GLL. Ergo die 20º, 23º, 24º, 26º mensis mai anni bismillesimi 25 poteris gratuito accipere scholas primas ex cursu meo GLL. Quomodo id facias? Vide vinculum infrapositum et nomen tuum gratuito subscribe. Te cognoscere gestio in proximum.